In this video, we're going to be discussing the topic outgrowing Shopify, and if you don't know what that means, don't worry, we'll get into it right now. Okay, Clay, so what does outgrowing Shopify mean?
Outgrowing Shopify? What does that mean? So what it means to outgrow Shopify is that a lot of e-commerce stores, a lot of e-commerce businesses, they get to a certain point, they've started up, Shopify is super easy to start with, learn, enter your products, make your brand. But when it comes to doing the extra stuff, like if you, for example, want to have like really great recipe pages, if you're a food business, or you have maybe like a lifestyle blog that you want to add, and the Shopify blog, it's limited. There's not really a lot of options for customization. And so you think, okay, I want to grow my brand, I want to grow my authority, how do I do more? And so that's where kind of looking away from Shopify, the start of looking away from Shopify happens.
Okay, so at what point do you think you actually tip over that point where Shopify is not really usable because you want so much more for your store, but it's just not in the capabilities of Shopify?
Yeah, it really comes down to the customization. Shopify as a platform is pretty fantastic. The feature set is massive.
Oh yeah, Shopify is awesome.
Yeah, it's better for e-commerce than anything else. There's nothing like on the market like it as of right now. So it's not really great when you have to move, because now you have to think, all right, if we're changing platforms to something else, we have to move all of our old content over this brand new website, that's a hassle.
And for an e-commerce store, there's a lot of data to move over, right?
For sure. I have a client at the moment that they have 400 recipes.
Wow.
400 recipes and over 100 products that we're currently moving at the moment.
So that takes a lot of time and obviously a lot of money to move over.
Yes.
So when it comes to outgrowing Shopify, if you need a solution and you're starting to actually outgrow the platform, one of the actual great alternatives that we've discovered is combining Webflow with Shopify. And so what are some of the benefits of combining Webflow and Shopify in order to actually grow more in your store?
Yes, so Shopify obviously is the king of e-commerce. You cannot touch it, you cannot move it. And if you already have an existing Shopify store, again, you're going to have that hassle of moving everything over to another platform. So you can bring in Webflow instead. You're actually able to create pages that are identical in theming and style to the Shopify theme that you already have in place. And you're able to add content like your recipes, your blogs, etc. to this custom website where you can add your own filters, and you can add there's a certain module that you really like for showing video or something like that. You're able to do all of that on the custom platform without actually disturbing your Shopify platform. You've already put all that effort into creating this e-commerce solution. You have everything configured, all your products are there, all the great images. Why disturb that?
Exactly.
When you can just make a really fantastic add-on through Webflow.
Perfect. So instead of moving everything over to a completely new website, instead of doing a site migration, you can simply add on a Webflow website that is completely custom and seamless, and it makes the experience feel like it's one website, but really you've just added more custom content. And it also allows you to add more features to the actual website, because when it comes to Shopify, like Clay was saying, there's no customization options really. It's just block by block building pretty much. And so with Webflow, you're able to actually make custom sections, and you can add features. What are some unique features that Webflow has? I mean, obviously there's a lot, but name a few of your favorite features on Webflow.
Well, when it comes down to Webflow versus what it can actually do versus Shopify is that, for example, if you have, there's certain sections, like on one of my clients, they have, it's like recipe tips, and it's this great little box, and it has a signature from the owner. It's really cute, kind of a cutesy thing, but it adds a lot of extra flair to that. They were originally going to be putting their recipes onto a plugin through Shopify that obviously could not do that. There's no customizability. Being able to make those little custom, sweet things that really add to a brand is probably my favorite. You can do anything. It's completely open source. You can embed code from other websites, other plugins into the actual Webflow, which it takes a lot of knit and grit to work through a Shopify site. That is one thing. You can custom code in Shopify. But the thing is that then you have to pay for a Shopify developer, which is very expensive. So
yeah, we've heard of some very expensive quotes when it comes to that. And so that's why this is an alternative that's cheaper and it's way more effective. It's going to allow your store to keep growing without the hassle of a site migration.
Yeah, it's the same results for a fraction of the price.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we can really quickly talk about one example of this, and that is farmtrue.com.
Yeah.
So this is a store that was on WordPress beforehand, and we've talked a little bit about this, but the store was not having great success because it kept running into some of the errors that WordPress commonly sees, where the plugins are kind of breaking, there's updates, and then the website is kind of falling apart right before your eyes. And so we migrated this over to a Webflow and Shopify combination, and you can go check out the site to see what I'm talking about, farmtrue.com. But we basically made a seamless integration between the Webflow and the Shopify website, and you'll easily see that when you actually go to start shopping for products.
Yeah, that's right. They actually were previously on a Shopify website, and they were convinced by another company to make that changeover. And guess what? They didn't really like it all that much. All of that, simplicity that they had in their lives, they had extra time to do just about anything else than worry about the technical side of their website, was completely thrown out the door, and they were stuck on this WordPress website that they hated. And they had one of their employees, their marketing director, would spend pretty much their entire day, most days, trying to figure out what's wrong with the website. And so that problem, we've completely eliminated that for them.
Yeah, and they were getting, she was also responding to emails all day from people that were complaining that the website's down, or they couldn't access certain pages, they couldn't buy things. I mean, come on, you can't have an e-commerce store that has products that you're not able to purchase, because that defeats the purpose a little bit, right?
Yeah, for sure. Another great thing that brought me a lot of joy here was that we actually were able to make it so that the quality of orders on the website was higher than previously, because people could actually find the products. Things were loading, they can actually add what they want and discover new products and add them to their cart. And so they actually were, the value in the orders had increased significantly.
Yeah, it sounds like they were really happy with the situation, and I think that in almost any situation, you're going to actually find that the Webflow and Shopify integration is the best way to have an e-commerce store with a lot of functionality, and that's really effective and affordable as well.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on today, Clay, and I think that wraps up the video.
Yeah, thank you for having me.